Good morning, everybody. It's Virginia Schmidt from Divinity School, a community where we get together to help each other live more consciously and with more power as the divinity that we are, and with more joy, and with more love, and with more happiness, and with more peace. So today I wanted to talk to you guys a bit about reprogramming your subconscious. And I'm going to share with you sort of a mix of things that have been taught to me and that I have come up with. Now, I know some of these techniques and tactics that I'm going to talk to you about today are part of some trademarked or different techniques, different trademark techniques, and different books and different programs and steps for doing this. So I'm sharing this with you from the place of this is what I just did this morning, okay? So this is what I did to reprogram my subconscious. I'm sure a lot of you guys know more about this than me, which is why it's so beautiful that we have this community and you guys can drop that context into the content, into the comments, and help each other find more resources and be able to tie more things together to create our own practices for reprogramming the subconscious, becoming conscious, rewriting our programs. How are we doing that? How can we help each other do that together? And so something that's really been inspiring me and that I have talked about in a few of my videos lately, and from Dr. Sue Morter, and also from the book, The Courage Habit, and I can't remember the name of the author, but that's the name of the book, The Courage Habit, and it's talking about how one of the best things we can do to be living more from that our core, more from that electromagnetic heart center, or just more from like the fullness of who we are, is to come down and embody into our whole body, because otherwise we're stuck up here and we're often cutting ourselves off from where from the core of our energy, from that power, and from where that kundalini rises as well, like from the base of the spine, and of course from this heart. So that being said, this is another practice for embodiment, but it takes it a little bit further as far as it has to do with the body, right? And another practice for embodiment that I've talked quite a bit about is like muscle testing. And it's just this way of coming into the full knowledge of our bodies, because in this world, our full physical body is the energetic vehicle that, is matter in this physical world. But like the fullness of my physical body is a reflection of my soul, or like a shadow even, but of my soul or my energetic truth, or larger, more expansive. It's like, this is the most condensed version of myself, but it's my full body. So that's why embodying can be so powerful. It gets you in touch with the full power of your full body. So in practices of embodiment, again, even just bringing your consciousness down to the tips of your toes, down to the soles of your feet, like the earth, and then maybe imagining just sweeping that energy all the way back up to the crown. Like, that's embodiment. You're bringing your consciousness to your whole body, belly breathing, central channel breath, even, just taking your focus to each one of your chakras as you're breathing, of course, but even just doing that, it's like fully embodying. And again, maybe down to your feet, down to the roots, down to the earth. So this has to do with the body, and I'm going to tie it into a couple other things. In a video that I recently posted called Ask Yourself, Is This True? I talk about Byron Katie saying that that's a great question we can ask ourselves to come to consciousness and become the observer of any sort of conclusion that we're drawing, or narrative that program that we're running on, narrative that we're living in. And so I talked about how, of course you can realize, okay, that's a beautiful moment to realize this isn't true, maybe, whatever I'm thinking. Like, I step outside of that narrative, I become the observer, I realize this isn't true, or I don't want this to be true. Maybe it's that I am not supported. So I'm going to give you guys the example of exactly the affirmation and subconscious reprogramming that I did today. And again, this is what I did today. I'm coming at it from everything that I've learned from all the amazing people in my life. I want to thank my friend Aiko, who has taught me a lot. I want to thank my friend Susie, and I want to thank my friend Reza, and I want to thank Barry, and I want to thank Dr. Sue Mortar, and I want to thank Dr. Joe Dispenza. There are a lot of, it's so beautiful. And I want to thank so many of you here in this community and your comments and things that it has led me to. It's just so beautiful. So anyway, back to this, is this true? So asking, is this true? Say you realize it's not, like you were having a thought, a thought, a weak thought, a thought that if you ask yourself through muscle testing, is this true? You would get a no. And so of course, what are the true thoughts? Thoughts that are seen through the lens of love. If God is love, through the eyes of God, through the eyes of love, lovingly. So what you do is you find a phrase that is true. And maybe it's in relation to whatever it is that you just realized whatever program you were running on that you just realized isn't true. So for me, the affirmation that just take a little time to meditate with this, like let it flow from you. Maybe you want to write it, but you come up with a phrase that feels really good, and you can muscle test with it. Like, is this true? Just going from the heart at that point, although it might not. That's kind of an interesting point to make, because the idea of the subconscious reprogramming is to get it into the body, that truth. And so if you ask, before you're really down with that, it could be false too. So anyway, coming up with something that feels really good and true in your heart, that feels like a strong thought to you, that you can feel as a high frequency, an expanded frequency. And so the affirmation that I came up with was, the more I share of myself, of my heart, of my pure and authentic truth and expression, the more I am supported. And I know that's really long. And I kept adding to it as I was going. So this is what you do. So you come up with a phrase that feels really strong for you. And you know what? You could just go there, right? That's going to be powerful. And you could come back to that phrase as an affirmation throughout the day, a la Louise Hay, and say it many, 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 many times throughout the day whenever you have a moment of consciousness. So that's powerful as well. And I've had experiences where I've just done that, where those affirmations, I will be in a dream saying that to other people, which is a pretty clear indicator that it's gotten down into the subconscious. So I do think that repeating affirmations can be really powerful as well. I'm just going to show you what I did this morning once I came up with that affirmation. So what you do is you close the circuit and then get yourself into a relaxed state in that embodied, physically closed circuit where it can sink into your subconscious and become a new program. So you come up with the affirmation, and then you again are checking in with your heart, checking in with your truth, checking in with what is true. And you ask yourself, in relation to this new affirmation, to this new program that you're planting, to this new subconscious seed that you're planting, which right now in my body, I'm dropping into my body, which leg feels more natural or attuned to this when I cross my legs? And you're either laying or sitting down. So right leg over left, just the way that we would just cross our legs. It's kind of hard to show you guys this, but if these were my legs, just the way that we would just cross our legs like that, just calf over shin, and you find which one feels better for you. And then, you do the same thing with your hands, and it may not be the same one. So you cross them and then you bring them together like this. Okay. Whoa, let's check my posture. So you keep your legs crossed, you have your hands crossed like this, and then you're looking down and relaxing, whether you're laying down or sitting down, and you just repeat that affirmation to yourself. You could do it out loud if you wanted, if you were alone. You just repeat that affirmation to yourself, or out loud or silently, relaxed, and it be anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. It could be faster, but you're staying very conscious, you're staying very embodied. You're staying very embodied as you're saying this. You're relaxing into your body. Maybe you're focusing on those beautiful places where the circuits are closed, and feeling that connection, that circuit that you've created in your body by crossing your legs and crossing your arms and hands and fingers. And you keep repeating the affirmation. Again, my affirmation this morning, and mine was so long that sometimes the words got a little, succinct is better, I will say, but again, it's what feels, it's your truth. It's And I can tend to be a bit verbose and profound. So again, my affirmation or reprogramming, or what is true for me, what I do desire to be true for me, what is true, is that the more I share of myself, of my heart, of my pure, authentic truth and expression, the more I am supported. And so I'm saying that again and again. I was doing it after feeding the horses this morning, just sitting out in the field in our little John Deere side-by-side. Wind is really blowing here and looking out at the mountains, and I just relaxed, sitting there in the seat, assumed the closed circuit position, looking down, totally relaxed, and just saying that in my head again and again until I felt a shift. I felt an energetic shift in my body, and that's what you feel. So that's where that embodiment, staying embodied, like you feel that shift. And maybe it's subtle or maybe it's more intense, but it's, that's the power of becoming the observer in the energies of your body, as you feel that shift. And it's true for you in that moment. It's gotten in, it's entered into your subconscious. So then from there, you take your hands together, all fingers touching, and you look through the fingers and you say it 3 times. And I think it's still kind of looking down, or maybe you lift up. Again, you guys, this is what I did. So I'm not claiming to be an expert on this. I'm sharing with you what I am doing to reprogram my own subconscious based on everything that I'm learning. And I have so much to learn, which is, I don't know if you guys have seen in some of my, I guess I haven't said it. I desire to begin introducing myself in my videos like that, but I'm a spiritual student teacher. And I love that on so many levels. Like, I'm always learning and I am teaching. Also though, you guys, just like A Course in Miracles, we're all teaching anyway. Like, we're all spiritual student teachers, whether we're conscious of it or not is the question. So I'm so open to learning from you guys too. I'm sharing with you guys what I do, what has empowered me, what I believe is working for me, what I can see and feel is working for me. And again, when you feel that energetic shift when you're doing this, it's pretty amazing. So then, as from the people that I learned with, you don't need to go back and say that affirmation all during the day. Now it's in your subconscious. And that's the power of this embodiment practice of the closed circuits, dropping into the body really consciously until you feel that energetic shift. Right? But still, for me, I just love coming back to affirmations. They're anchors for me. So I probably will still come back to that if I come to a moment of consciousness, become the observer, realize an untrue or weak thought. And it's like, what's a strong one I can go to? It's like a beautiful place to take rest in. Consciously. I think of affirmations that way. So I look forward to hearing you guys' comments on this. Practice it. And if people know more about this than me from specific disciplines and teachings, please share resources, you guys. Let's share them with each other. Share video links, share books. It helps me, but it also helps all of us. We're here because we're on this conscious path to live our divinity together. We're all here because we are searching to ever more truly experience the divinity that we are. And embodiment, as long as we're here in this physical world, actually has a lot to do with that. So sharing practices for embodiment, sharing the knowledge we have, sharing our journeys with each other, it's like a treasure chest of spiritual knowledge. And I guess that's kind of what I want Divinity School to be, is like a communal treasure chest of spiritual knowledge and support. And so I'm going to leave it at that. We are all each other's treasure here, and I treasure you guys so much. I love you. Thank you so much for all of your comments, for all of your authenticity, your vulnerability, your friendship. We really are creating a community. And part of the reason I started Divinity School too was because I am so spiritual, and my greatest passion and love is staying connected as often as possible, more and more and more, with the divinity that I am, with the I am, with source, with God, with love, with that which made me. And, feeling like with everything that I take into this, for that understanding and practice and devotion and reverence for me, that I just don't really know where I fit in with that, because I've only read the New Testament, but for instance, I love the Bible, and yet I just don't quite feel often like I fit in with a church, with a lot of those current, more evangelical church communities. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of yesterday, I met a lot of people from the Baha'i faith. I'd love to hear comments about the Baha'i faith. Anyone who knows about that, really cool. Met some folks here in town from that faith. Also heard an amazing reading from a Christian Science woman yesterday from Mary Baker Eddy. But see, this was an amazing gathering of people. I actually want to talk more about this, and this is getting long, so I'll make another video. But I want to make another video in commemoration of my good friend Susanna, and this was a memorial service for Susanna yesterday. Bless her divine soul as she looks over me right now recording this video. I love you, Susanna. And, you're part of Divinity School too. She so is, you guys. And her spirit was very exemplified by this gathering yesterday. I didn't know what to expect, but it was like a Divinity School gathering, you guys. Anyone who's watching this video would have loved being there yesterday. The readings were from, there was another book that I can't remember the name of. So I read out loud from a book that Sue shared with me that has changed my life. I don't know if I've talked about it much with you guys, but it's The Child Within Us Lives by William Samuel. And then a woman read from Mary Baker Eddy, Christian Science. And then the other one was a native collaboration. I will drop the name in the comments because I wrote down this book that I want to read it. There were two. There was also a book of poetry. I will drop both of those in because there was this amazing poem that was read, and it was like True Consciousness or something. But it was a reading about the Great Spirit and consciousness from a Native American perspective. And it was so powerful. And, I was like, yes, I fit here. It was the most progressive yet spiritual, in the largest sense of the word, physical gathering that maybe I've ever been to, with that focus equally there on, progressiveness in the sense of helping others, helping eternal truths like equality to be realized. But then, and there were some brilliant people there, very educated, very brilliant people, but the whole feeling was that we all believed in something bigger, and maybe in different ways, but we shared in it so powerfully and so passionately. And I think that's what my hope for Divinity School is, for us, is bringing all these people together in this open space and with these open hearts where we're sharing the ways that we're finding this and practicing this. And it's all in this devotion and reverence to very much desiring to, have a relationship with the divine, with God, with the divinity of ourselves, with our hearts, and also with each other in that. So, I want to hear too what you guys are looking for in this community and just your experience with all this. And I just love hearing from you guys. It means a lot to me. And again, it's the heart and soul of what Divinity School is. We're all Earth students here, and we're all student teachers. We're all student teachers, at the Divinity School of Earth. That's kind of the idea. That was kind of the idea for the name Divinity School. So I love you guys. I'm going to meet my friend Katie for breakfast. Katie had been living in Honduras and while I was living in Guatemala, and I haven't seen her. We didn't see each other down there, but we sent a lot of WhatsApp voice messages in Spanish back and forth. She's from my hometown, and I'm really excited for this coffee meeting. She's very, very Christian, and so I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot, and we're going to have some great spiritual conversations. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.